the idea of this kind of paradox that autistic people can be um, dispassionate and emotional, cold and unfriendly and uncaring on one side, but also prone to explosive emotional outbursts and tantrums, meltdowns, things like that, and kind of getting overwhelmed emotionally and getting teary or kind of overexcited.
When it comes to autism, we see appropriate used a lot of the time, and I really don't agree with that because, and I'll explain why in a little diagram later, our response is always appropriate. We're basically responding to the inputs that are coming at us and our memories that are triggered by all that. We process more input. We're more sensitive to our environment. So we actually have more information or more stimulus or more inputs coming at us than non-autistic people do.
Has a different value, maybe, on an emotional level, which is something that gets tied into how we calibrate the relationship between this sensation and this emotional state. And the obvious example is light touch, as they call it.
In 1925, Grunya Sakhareva published a paper. And in that paper, she described autistic children as they are described in the DSM diagnostic criteria now. It's terrifying. So this is kind of nearly 20 years before Asperger.
Green line here is the group that did the best. This is the red line in the middle, and the yellow line obviously didn't do so well. The green line is actually the autistic group. Yay!
Yes!
Surprise everybody! Nobody really expects that autistics are actually better communicators,
Have partly found my route to discovery of being autistic myself through before that identifying with social anxiety symptoms, and that making a lot of sense to me, and then working on social anxiety. Speech, and they hate that. But it's like social situations for social anxious people are like a job interview, only it's an ordinary social life, possible judgment by others. Now, I've put that in green because I think this brings us back to some of your themes, Evelyn. The reality is that for many people who grow up, many autistic people growing up, they're not just exposed to possible judgment, they're exposed to judgment. And so naturally, they expect judgment. They get it, we get it. We get bullied, we get called we're weird, we get laughed at, we get teased, we get tricked.
And I suppose life is full of distractions, and to be fair, I think when an autistic child finds things distracting, they're sent off to therapy, to learn how to cope with these distractions. And then when they're distracting others, they're also sent off to therapy to learn how to find new ways to not distract people. So I suppose I don't think it's fair. I think there's a way around most situations. You can have a situation where one child's stim is triggering another child or clashing with another child. But there's going to be those kind of combative situations in any, classroom.